All right. Hello all, it's Anni here, and my channel is support channel for all the caffeine quitters. So warmly welcome to this live. And this live, I'm just gonna shortly introduce you one interesting study. So I'm not gonna try to analyze all of it because it's quite long and the text is something that it's quite difficult to me to English starts to read all of you, but you can make your own ideas for that. So I'm gonna just also link that study below this video. And first of all, I will check all the settings before I start to speak more. And you are always warmly welcome to join to the chat. I have been doing more videos in Finnish, so my English is a little bit lost, so sorry about that. Okay, it seems that it works. This have been doing this voice still that it sometimes is missing about some seconds, so sorry about that. I don't know how to fix that. It can be something that they censorize my voice in some reasons, or I don't know, but anyway, so I will tell you a little bit first how I'm doing now. Over 4 years, actually this month's 18th comes 4 years and 2 months without any caffeine. So I have been keeping improving, and actually I had it was like a mini wave. I had in this last period, day 3, I started to have really I was really tired some days, and kind of I could describe it like the mild depression. I just noticed that my mood went a little bit down, and I know that it was kind of part of this healing still, but it was nothing too bad. I was actually quite creative. I could write songs, make lyrics and things like that. So I think in this this part of healing, I'm really experiencing that I'm starting to get my natural creativity back, which is kind of same time I'm very grateful and emotional about that. But at the same time, of course, if I still have these low depression moments, in that moment sometimes it feels that, oh, I shouldn't be feeling like this, but I just know it's part of the journey. And the reason why I want to share this with you, because I always want to be honest, and I have been promising that I will update if something comes up, but it's nothing that I'm not functional or anything like that. I'm just feeling being very tired and unmotivated. So we some of us, we still have these kinks even longer this journey. And I know that there is a lot of doubters out there, and people who are doubting this, and people who are saying that it cannot take long time to heal after chronic caffeine use. So for those comments, I don't even take a minute for those comments, because I already have been seeing so many people who have very long time effects after quitting chronic caffeine use. So I just want to make that clear. So we're gonna go now into the study, and I think this study can be something to look at when we wanna also understand these vasoconstric effects that caffeine and chronic caffeine especially does to people, so we can understand also better these neurochemical adaptations that can happen due to time, due to chronic caffeine use, and also why it takes so long time to recover. And also this opens up a little bit that, because I always speak about the brain, how brain needs to heal, how the brain receptors need to heal, how the adenosine receptors in the brain need to heal, but actually there is a lot of adenosine receptors also else in the body, many places. So this is not so simple stuff. Caffeine affects in every single cell, and how that those cells are functioning. So that's why when I always throw you why it takes so long time to recover, so how long it takes to all your cells replenish and renew itself. So that can give you a hint a little bit how and why it takes so long for some people. But okay, let's go to the study and let's look this up here. So this was about the effect of daily caffeine use on cerebral blood flow. How much caffeine can we tolerate? And this is like I just read this introduction from here, so then you can get a little bit hint what it's all about. Caffeine is 1.3.7-trimethylxanthine, a naturally occurring plant alkaloid, is the most widely used neurostimulant in the world, being present in coffee, tea, soft drinks, chocolate, analgesics, and dietary supplements. A recent review of national dietary consumption between I don't know how to read those, estimated that 87% of the population consume caffeine with average of 193 milligrams a day. Among adults 18 years and older, the daily intake ranges between 166 and 336 milligrams per day. A 2050 milligram dose of caffeine has been shown to reduce resting cerebral blood flow, CBF, between 22 and 30%. Caffeine at normal dietary concentration acts as a competitive antagonist of adenosine A2A and A2B receptors located on vascular smooth muscle. Adenosine is an essential cellular constituent involved in energy metabolism and also acts an extracellular signaling molecule by binding to its receptors that are found on virtually every cell in the body. Every cell in the body, guys. This is something that I want to point out when you read this study. When bound to A2A and A2B receptors subtypes located on cerebrovascular smooth muscle, adenosine produces vasodilation. And channels and decrease in the, although there may be other mechanism of action as well. And there was like evidence from receptors binding, physiology and behavioral studies suggest and an adaptation to the effects of caffeine following chronic intake. This adaptation presumably accounts for the development of the tolerance to the vasoconstrictive and neurostimulants effects of caffeine. Some evidence exists for the sensitizations of adenosine receptors following chronic caffeine use. Various receptor binding studies suggest the majority of this adaptation is due to receptors upregulation. Although these studies have been concluded in rodents, A2A receptors located on human plates have been shown to be upregulated following 2 weeks of 600 milligrams a day. Indirect evidence for receptor upregulation comes from studies that have reported to development of tolerance to the effects of caffeine on blood pressure, heart rate, and subjective mood following repeated dosing. Withdrawal symptoms following a period of abstention also indicate a psychological adaptation to chronic caffeine use. Symptoms such as headache, fatigue, impaired concentration emerge between 12 and 24 hours after caffeine, and may be present from as little as 100 milligrams a day of chronic caffeine use. More importantly, withdrawal headaches among caffeine users correspond with increased cerebral blood flow following 20 to 24 hours abstention from caffeine. This may be a result of adenosine binding to increased number of vascular receptors that are normally antagonized by chronic caffeine levels. Okay, so there was something a little bit sum off for that. And wait a second. So because we all know that caffeine have this vasoconstrict effect, so it will not narrow those blood vessels. So think about the chronic use, guys. I don't even have to start to read you all these studies, because even those studies, there are always, they always somehow, when you look up at those, many of those studies, they turn the studies around that there might be some good effects in the caffeine, even there is not. So that's why I'm like, I will recommend you, when you look these studies, look always with the critical eye and look at the things that they actually have been able to show what caffeine does, and not so much like those other factors that sometimes they are trying to point out which are not true. But for me it makes completely sense, like if you, like, for example, what is the migraine trigger? So like it makes sense that when your body is, like, when you're putting the poison in the body, and caffeine like affects that vasoconstrict effect, so it narrows those blood vessels. So that is, for some reason, many people, when they take caffeine, they notice that, oh, my migraine went away. When I take caffeine, I notice that my migraine goes away. So what happens when people start to withdrawal? Why they start to have headaches? It's because those adenosine receptors are not stopped anymore, and the blood starts to flow. And it's a good thing, when the blood starts to flow, you start to have headaches. But with the chronic caffeine use, like many of us who have been using these poisons like really, really long time, and some of us really, really heavy amounts, like I was, for example, one of those, we can only, like, we don't even have to speculate about the effects that comes when you, like, narrow those blood vessels, like, and that with the chronic use, your body try to compensate that, always like making more those adenosine receptors and what all things it has to do. But with the chronic use and heavy use, its body cannot keep it up. So what happens with time? First of all, it will lead you with that toxic dementia, because when your brain doesn't get enough like blood flow, and with the blood flow there have to come also the oxygen. When your brain doesn't get that enough, it's actually a very dangerous state to be. Even the brain always tries to compensate that, like doing what it have to do. But these long-term effects, they make sense why so many of us, we have so much these weird feelings in the brain when we heal, and all kind of feelings in our body, because caffeine really affects in every cell in the human body and how they work. And this adaptation is a real thing. It's not something that I have made up. I have been sharing in this channel very much information about this subject. I still think that this caffeine is very underestimated, in that sense that study speaks itself that is a very, very dangerous poison, but it doesn't, some reason people doesn't get it, like think about it. If you stop your blood flow to the brain and your brain don't get oxygen, your cells starts to die. It's called cell death in your brain, in your kidneys, everywhere. And when the adenosine is binded, because caffeine will go in those adenosine receptors, it affects in all your system in the blood flow. So it affects how your body will metabolize food and everything, how your brain work. And so, like, no wonder that people have these, like, like TA attacks and all kind of attacks, because of the restricts blood flow because the blood doesn't flow enough. And then the dehydration is another part that I think is very much like overlooked. Like it's very important, the dehydration part. Like when you are chronic caffeine user, you use the poison all the time. Your body is detoxing like hell. It is dehydrated state all the time, and that itself can cause you a toxic dementia too. So there is many factors. Because what your body does, and this is how I see, because I see that our body is always healing ourselves. Like how I see what disease is for me, it's always healing and adaptation. That is the like two things that body basically does. It's healing, detoxing poisons all the time, as much as it can in this our modern world, which is sometimes really hard to body. And then it also adapts, because if it cannot do something, like for example in chronic caffeine use, it cannot keep up to detoxing all the caffeine poisons that you are putting in. It have to adapt, and then also it restores those byproducts, which are paraxanthin and dimethylic urine acid, those byproducts which come from the caffeine. And those poisons are restored in our body. So nobody really knows how long it can take to like detox all those restored caffeine toxins. And there are research for that. And I have been like sharing all the stuff that I can, researches and everything in my Discord. But like I said in my Finnish live, no matter how much research I will throw the naysayers, or how much research I will throw the people who are like still using caffeine and doubting this, research doesn't give you the answer. What gives you the answer? That you quit your caffeine intake completely, chocolate included, all caffeine included, and of course my recommendation, all mind-altering drugs included. And then you wait, and you wait really long time. Affecting you. So that's the real study. That is the real like citizen science that many of us we are doing here. And this my channel, it's really interesting in not like that I'm gonna not put myself into any important position, but in that sense that I have been documenting my own journey here, and at the same time I have been getting this really huge possibility to see other people going through this journey. And it's not easy for many, and that's why my heart goes out with you, anyone who is trying to quit caffeine and going back and forth, because I know it's hell of hard to quit this drug and stay quit. But I always will will recommend you to keep staying quit and keep going this journey and looking at the improvements and looking forward, because the reward is huge. You will get your brain health back, your body health back, your mental health back, your every single health back that you have may lose when you were in the state of the chronic caffeine use and state of the fight or flight and state of the dehydration. And that is also the reason why many of us, we have been so dehydrated in this journey. And that's, we go in the second step. Sorry, this is a little long preaching, but sometimes I have to do this preaching because some people, they just need to hear it straight and not just like la la la, like nicely said. Because I still have my channel. I don't know if I have my channel long, but I still had it, so I'm gonna keep preaching. So for you who ask me what to drink instead, drink water. Water is the main drink. I know that many of us, we crave other stuff, or it would be nice to drink this or that, but water is the main thing that you should drink. And then you add good salt in that. Because the dehydration, it's really huge thing for many chronic caffeine users. So water is the way to go. And then with the diet, you do the best diet you can. For me now, I'm pretty much back eating what I want. Actually, today I did eat a little bit pizza. My body seems to heal pretty good, so I'm happy. Of course, I'm not going crazy with the with the foods, but I'm really enjoying that I can eat normally and my system is not freaking out. My nervous system is not freaking out, so I'm enjoying that. But what I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna never touch any piece of caffeine, not even piece of chocolate ever. That's how traumatized I have been in this journey, and that's how long my journey is been. But it still continues, and hey Mode, and I definitely keep improving. And yes, it is true that many chronic caffeine use healing take years. Somebody needs to say that too. Years. Yes, years, not months, years. I know that many people are not want to share this stuff. They don't want to do YouTube. They don't want to keep speaking about this. So somebody have to do this shitty work and share that. But that's how it is. And here in my channel, I share my own experience. So I keep that remind. And also my Discord, it's also the place for those people who have these chronic symptoms long time. That my Discord is not the place to question that it's not caffeine anymore. My Discord is the place to support every single person who have these long-term effects and who are really suffering, and bringing the information and being kind and positive and supporting. Just wanted to say that people doesn't have any other like picture what this is all about. Because these things should be taken more and more serious than it have, and I know that there is so much work in our society what comes to caffeine and all these like effects, long-term effects that chronic caffeine use is causing to people, and I am passionate about that. And now I'm really interested about this how chronic caffeine use like affects to the blood flow in the brain and all the cells and this adaptation. This is like something that I'm now really interested about, and I want to just dive deep into that more. But for you, I think what is like the most important, what you are interested about, that do I still have waves and how much better I am, and that's like I'm still keep improving. But it is like I said, this is my best summer so far. I have been able to do stuff that I haven't done like this for like years. I don't even remember. But I still sometimes have, like now I see that 3 days I had like the mild depression and tiredness. So I still have my own kinks. And I keep trusting that this journey in my case goes like this in the end, that I just keep improving, and then some point I don't anymore have these days when I have my depression and tiredness. But I'm always honest, and I want to always say how it is. I don't want to keep anything like not to say, because it's not my style, and I don't go in that road. I keep the honesty no matter what the naysayers say. And so, but now I'm interested to hear about you. How are you doing? How many months in? What kind of symptoms do you have? And of course you can always comment if you like, because I'm always like happy to hear you, like how are you doing. And also, like, probably in next month, I'm not gonna do so much YouTube, except I have been starting to, like, do lyrics, so you will be hearing my lyrics, of course. In that form, I will do YouTube, but I will go to the travel, and then there is a berry season, so I will be forest all day long. So it can be that in... Now it's June, July and August. I'm not so active, diving deep in this caffeine studies and stuff. But I will keep you, of course, updated. And in the autumn, then I will, of course, share more, and then you will see how much I have been improving. So like I have been promised, I will keep you updated. So this really have been an interesting journey. And of course, there is so many other things that I would like to speak more in the future. So time will show that how it goes. Is this channel to something that I even want to continue? Because that is one thing that is in my plate now, that even this YouTube and this information will stay in YouTube. Hopefully what I have been doing it's still too much like not freedom of speak for a person like me, that I wanna be able to speak whatever I want, and that those topics that I will find very important in our times, like these injections and injection injuries and all this other darkness that is there like in the world, and like the new stuff are coming and stuff like that. So I am thinking about like just removing myself maybe next year completely in some kind of other platform where I don't have to think anything about what I say or how I say these things, because it doesn't make any kind of sense to me. So YouTube is in that kind of information, YouTube is, it's not the place to be. But of course this channel will stay and the videos will stay, and you can always like comment and I try to answer that, but I will keep you informed, and I always like tell you what is going on. I don't just leave and let you alone. No, I don't do that, but just like to let you know that everyone have to do what we have to do, and so on. But I will write you more songs and like lyrics, and in that way I also will continue to like share my thoughts and my own feelings and stuff like that. And it's been so nice to do that, because so long time when you are in the state of like not being motivated and not being excited about anything, it's just like a gift of God when you get yourself back, and that's how it goes in this journey. Like many people, when we recover, that we start to have those little glimpses of our true self back. And first, when you are in the beginning part of your journey, it is just like you have these glimpses, you have these moments when you feel better and when you feel creative and energized and stuff like that. But it's never constant, so that's why it's so hard. You have to keep riding that roller coaster until the roller coaster comes to end. But then some point it starts to be like more like consistent. So you actually start to be more stronger, and your nervous system is no sensitized anymore. You start to able to tolerate stress better. You tolerate food better. You can eat what you want, basically. You can be social. You can be around the people without they annoying you or without them giving you any intrusive thoughts or anything bad thoughts. You can just be normally and naturally, and then you actually also start to see how some other people who are, for example, heavily caffeinated, their state is not actually natural. Their state comes from the fight or flight. But when you start to come out from that state and when you heal yourself, you are starting to action differently. You are not irritated anymore. You can do basically what you want and go wherever you want without having that constant fear or doubt in your head. And that, of course, is a huge thing for many of us. Hi, Epistar. Yes, thank you. You two are wonderful. Yes, I'm a little bit straight-mouthed, but yeah, forgive me that. But yeah, so it's really, we really start to come in this journey to the whole. First, we think that we are broken and we are like pieces, and we think about we have some brain injury. Sometimes we think that we cannot even see or read, and our brain is so much like brain fog, and like we feel that we are so depressed, and all these symptoms. I don't always want to repeat the symptoms, but that's what the journey is about. It's about going through the symptoms, going through the hell. So those symptoms are the sign that your brain is actually doing the work. Your body is doing the work. All your cells are rewiring, renewing. Your brain is rewiring, and that's the uncomfortable part. But then at some point when you start to go there in the easier side, you start to actually enjoy the ride. And what I mean by that, when you enjoy the ride, you start to discover yourself like again, like it should be. Like you start to be able to enjoy life, and it's not anymore like you have to push yourself. Now, many of you, I know you are in the place that you have to push yourself. You have to push yourself, maybe work. If you are working, you have to just like go through the day somehow. You maybe are trying to use all these coping skills that you used to have, like breathing techniques, cold showers, like the healthy diets and whatever, and then you think that why I'm still this fucked, like why these these stuff that I used to do, even when you were caffeinated, you were able to live some kind of normal life in that adapted state. Like at least I was, even it wasn't optimal what comes to OCD and anxiety, but it was like tolerable, and it was something that I if I'm honest, I never even know what is neurotransmitter is. I was never into brain health or brain adaptation when I was like in my caffeinated years. I was just like living in that state where I was adapted, and I could still do all my stuff and work out and whatever. But what I'm truly grateful that I did end up in this journey is because without this experience, I probably would have just like blindly go through that toxic dementia, or I don't know what would be my cause of death. We all die some days, like the addicts always say, Annie, but we all die someday. Yeah, we do. But anyway, so for many of us this have been kind of like kind of an accident when we just come in this journey, and then we become to be very grateful that we did, because like we know there are still so many people blindly using caffeine without knowing any of these vasoconstric effects, or even maybe some of them they may like notice sometimes that they do have a little bit headache, or they do have a little bit muscle tension and anxiety and OCD. They just go they just like think it's something else, and then many people, when they use caffeine and they start to have these mental illness or issues, when your body is like responding to poison in that way, they go to the doctors. So what the doctors do, they give you pills. So what the pills do, pills will stop and slow the healing. So doctors, they don't have the answer. Many doctors do know. They do know the effects of caffeine, and they do the long-term effects of caffeine, but they somehow I don't know, maybe they are good doctors, but here they don't want to speak about that. They just stay silent. And then what comes to medication, I don't recommend any medication, but again, I don't advise. That's just my opinion. I didn't want to do that or go for that road, because I know it's not gonna heal me. So that's why I haven't been running around the doctors, because why? Only thing that I did, like to check the basic thing, I checked my heart, and last summer I did check my heart because I had that anxiety wave. But I haven't had anything that like last summer, nothing like that after that. So these kinks that I have had always comes in my periods, and they are like the mild depression or the what is the like the lower motivation, but nothing like the panic or like the horror. I haven't had anything like that. But if I do, I will update you, of course. But just wanted to say that it is. And I also want to say that anyone who, if you are now like, either you are in the window or wave, or you are just in the state that you have constantly having symptoms all day long, either way, you're gonna heal. And before you are healed, your mind is doubting. Even with this much anxiety, that is where your mind is focused, because we have this thing in our humans that comes through our evolution, that our mind is always more focused in the negative stuff. And that is because like back in the days, it helped us to survive, because we were able to notice the danger. That was something that kept us alive, so we were able to focus on the voices, and we were able to like notice those negative stuff and sensations. So we still have like that kind of ability in us. So that's why even when we are in our these low days or apathic days, it can be that moment, even if that would be last only one day, you can start to think and doubt that, oh my God, am I gonna experience this depression again, or this is not happening. And then when it lifts, you are like, whoom, you are like going and doing. Hey Travis, hi, sorry, I'm speaking so much that I didn't even notice. So that's what the depression does. Like the people that when we are depressed or anhedonic, we tend to like forget all the improvements and all the things that we actually have been able to do already in this journey when we have started to heal. So that's why it's so important that you will keep yourself some kind of update, whatever that is. Maybe you do your own video journal or write or something, that you really have to focus in those improvements that you really do get. Because then when you have the low day, it doesn't anymore do anything to you. Of course, those low days, they will come shorter and shorter and milder when you go forward. But then you have something to like hold on, and you don't start to like go in that anxiety rabbit hole, because it's always there, the mind which is doubting. And sometimes if you are a caffeine addict recovering, hey Päivi, and thank you for subscribing. When you are a chronic caffeine addict, your mind can start to trick you, especially in the beginning of this journey. I know so many who relapse. Your mind can start to trick you that it's okay to have some caffeine. Your addiction mind is still there. So just keep that in mind when you have these cravings, that you don't go back to caffeine and you just like keep focusing the improvements and going forward. Hi Emil, moikka. But it is really for many people like the roller coaster ride, and that is the good way to describe it. And sometimes I just like when it comes like why some people don't have this withdrawal, some people do. Okay, so there we come again, like with this genetics, epigenetics, how have you been adapted, how your brain have been adapted, your body have been adapted, how long have you been using since childhood. Like there can be so many factors, so it's not like that I can say something like this is why this is like the same with the benzo people. But for me, it makes completely sense why I have been adapted. I was like in caffeine user since early childhood, very chronic use, everyday use, high amounts, years, over 30 years of using. So there, if you look like a common sense, you are very chronic user, you use high amounts. So if your body wouldn't adapt and go into that allostatic state, you would probably die. Because if we can look like, we look at what, okay, so what does like those vasoconstric effects, like what does happens if those blood vessels have been narrowed? So prolonged vasoconstriction due to caffeine may contribute to oxidative stress and inflammation, which could potentially lead to cellular damage and cell death over time. Okay, so cell death over time, cellular damage. So of course your body have to adapt, or otherwise you die. So that's been like a kind of a good thing that we have been adapted. But then it also makes sense, and I don't know why some people don't get it, why it doesn't make sense for some people, that also takes time to body to adapt back to homeostasis. But then other people, maybe they haven't been so much affected, or maybe they haven't used so much. I don't know. There can be different factors. Also, that also is a huge factor for some people why they have this high anxiety if they quit cold turkey. So that can be one reason why some of us, we have this extreme anxiety when we quit cold turkey. And like for me, it didn't like right away, I didn't start have these panic attacks. I have those first 2 to 3 weeks where I kind of like was like functioning, and I think there was a lot of still caffeine in my system to detoxing, so the caffeine wasn't like detoxed at all in that point. So it can be due to that also why the withdrawals didn't really fully kick in, and many factors. But when my system really did realize that, oh my god, the caffeine is not coming in anymore, like where the hell is my drug, then my system started to freak out, and the real healing started to continue. And that's why it's for many people it's safer to go to you taper slowly, and then you of course quit the drug completely with the tapering, and then you continue to stay free. And I don't say that for tapering people they don't have symptoms, because yes, many people with the tapering still have a lot of symptoms, but it can be something that you don't end up having this shock effect, which we don't of course want. So I hope this video did help you again and keep you motivated, because sometimes somebody have to come and yell you a little bit that you will keep motivated and you don't go in that anxious rabbit hole, because we tend to do that, and this is a lonely journey for many of us, being around, especially if you have to be if you're living in the city or wherever and there is a lot of people having their coffees, and I know that can be really hard if you are surrounded people, everybody who's using something, but then you just have to keep you focused in your own journey. And when you heal, when you go into the place that you are able to live normally, you just don't care really what other people do. It doesn't bother you. You are not there to preach them, or you are not there to oh, you should quit caffeine. You are just so much into your own life, and you're focusing your own skills and your talents, because I know that there is a talent person watching this. You have so much talent in you, and you're gonna use that with your whole potential. You're gonna make business whatever you want make, but it's not you're gonna suffer all your life. I also wanna say to reassurance many people who are now, I know it feels is this possible to live without the drugs, or is this possible to live without caffeine? It is. This is not life-long lasting diagnosis. But there is a really many factors when we heal from the chronic addiction that comes in the surface. So that's why I'm sharing this. So do you have any questions or anything? If not, then I will start to end this live. And I will always try to, if I find, you can also send me in Discord if you have some good studies and something that you think that would be good to me to show here in YouTube. Of course, I will happy to do that if there are something that I haven't done yet. But also one thing is that doesn't change what comes to poisons. No matter how many the mainstreams tries to trick you and give you the new studies how caffeine can cure the dementia, or new studies that caffeine can over 5 cups a day can cure for Alzheimer. That's all bullshit. What comes to poison, it doesn't, how much you study, it doesn't change. Some things doesn't change. When something is a poison, it's a poison. It doesn't change how much you study it. And this is also something that I think everybody should read if you are interested. The Devil's Cup, about the history of coffee. Very interesting book. This is a Finnish version, so I just read this in my channel. It's all good stuff in here, how they have been using coffee in the war rituals, and how they did invest in instant coffee, for example, in war, so the soldiers would have more that aggression, because the chief that are putting soldiers in the war, they did notice that when they give soldiers caffeine, they are more angry, and they just don't think about, and they just want to go there straight away and kill other people. So they started to invent that first instant coffee that and all kind of stuff. So this is something horrible and good to read at the same time. What does the Yuppie Star says? I'm at 11 months. Now my stomach problems are very severe. I often have doubts whether it is still come from caffeine, but I know caffeine is the reason anxiety, depression have gotten much better. Yes, that's amazing. And yes, it's for sure it's from caffeine. I had the same in that time. Even my, like you said, the anxiety and depression started to go milder, and maybe you feel like more calm and like relaxed, but my stomach issues were really severe, and I had like I don't know if you had that, but I had a lot of like in back and then still burping. I have acid reflux then I had like it didn't, no matter what I did eat, I always had some weird stuff going on. So that all will go away. Now I can eat a pizza and be fine. Nothing. Like I eat what I eat. Of course I wanna stay mainly healthy diet, but I have to say it's so nice to be relaxed and eat food and go in the restaurants, because I was so long time I couldn't even go to restaurants because I had so many intrusive thoughts and panic and fear. And I remember I said my boyfriend, like when I think I was like around my second year when I first time really went to the restaurant, but I wasn't like enjoying it very much. But first time, I don't remember what month I was when I went first time in the restaurant and I was relaxed. I was like, I love it. I love this feeling when I was watching other people and I was just like, those other people, they are not freaking out what is in the food, and they don't have these intrusive thoughts, and they are just living their life, and I felt so relaxed. But it took me really, really long time before my mind started to really calm. So, but that's of course it's individual. Some people it can happen a lot of sooner. Where did the chat go? Yes, Yuppistar. Andrea, yeah, I noticed with the caffeine I'm content with doing monotonous thing like stupid video games. Monotonous, yes. Yeah, that is for sure normal. And Yuppistar, yes, the burping and bloating are very, very strong at the moment. Yep. That's normal, don't worry. Your system is just catching up. I can tell you that have happened to so many, and people are always documenting me and commenting me that I have this acid reflux and burping. Is this burping normal? And then of course the mind is always doubting, can it still be caffeine? But yes, it can. So you don't have to worry. It will settle down itself. It really, really does. It does that. And sometimes you can notice that when you have a better window that suddenly you can notice that sometimes the burping actually goes away. And then you're like, okay, it goes away. And then it can come on back. So it can be like it is for many of us, back and forth until it goes away. Same with the sleep for many. Like now I can say I'm sleeping. I love sleep. I also take naps sometimes still, because just because I sleep so good. My sleep was fucked up like really long time. It was fucked up there close to my 4 years, like that it wasn't perfect. But now I just sleep. I just love to sleep, and I can notice that my brain likes to sleep after all these insomnia years. So it's really nice when you start to have your sleep back, and that will happen to you too. Without you, I'd be lost. Thank you so much. Yes, you are doing the good work, and you're gonna be just traveling around the world and doing whatever when you heal. You are, and I will say that after people who go through this, like some of us, like, because not everyone are going through this like this intense that some of us. So I'm gonna say that when you start to heal, and even when you are not fully healed, when you start to be more functional, you don't really care anything like little things. Like for example, a few days ago, I did, some bug did go in my ear because I have been spending time a lot with the forest. So this is a funny story, but some bug did go into my ears, and it actually go in my ears that I did feel that it was somewhere like walking there, and normally I would like fucking freak out, like the bug is in my ear and maybe it goes to my brain, and I was just a little time I was just like, oh fuck, the bug is in my ear, and then I just called the like, I did call doctor and I said that I can't get out, like some bug did go into my ear and it doesn't come out. But I wasn't like freaking out. Then they said that, okay, you just have to put some water in your ear and try to that come out. And it did come out. But like, if that would happen to me earlier in my journey or something like that, I would have been fucking freaking out. like I couldn't deal any kind of stress, but now I'm just like, oh, whatever, like whatever that comes out. And it did. Like, you don't really care, like, or if you get some like little wound or hit your head or whatever happens, like normal little things, you don't be so freaked out about things. Like you just normally, you just live like normally. You are like, okay, this happens. I don't know if you get the point, but when your nervous system is sensitized, you are just freaking out for every single thing, and that's not really nice place to be. I know, but it will change. I have already changed my views a lot. This hell makes you grateful for everything beautiful. Yes, it really does. How much caffeine were you taking before you quit? Yes, I was taking like 5 cups a day coffee. 5 cups a day coffee on and off. And then I had dark chocolate because I was thinking that there is antioxidants in dark chocolate. So for that, I don't know how much caffeine I was taking. Then also I did use some matcha tea, like matcha lattes. I did make the matcha smoothies, so I did get caffeine from that. And then also I had some supplements, some green powered supplements that there was some caffeine, green tea extract in those. So my own thought that I could be maybe in even 1000 milligrams a day some days. I don't know. But again, it's really hard to say. But what comes to coffee, because I really was more like coffee drinker. I was never like, I know that many in this journey are people that they are just a tea drinkers. But for me, I was definitely a coffee drinker. So that was about. But I never didn't count like, about 5 cups about a day, because sometimes I remember I have my morning coffee, then the second coffee about like maybe 11 o'clock, then I have my another coffee if I was working, and then sometimes I had my evening coffees, and you know, so even sometimes in the morning I could have. When I was working, I remember sometimes I could have like 2 cups of coffee before work even. But it was like, you know, I never was about like this, it's always 5 cups a day. But it was enough to cause me all this. So I don't recommend to anyone to be a chronic user, but like for many of it just happened, like it was just so normal because everybody else was doing that same. Everyone I know was using caffeine, and I remember there was in one workplace where I worked, there was some women that they say that they don't take coffee or caffeine. I don't remember if they say caffeine but coffee, and I always think that, oh, that's weird. Or I didn't even think about that anymore, but I just remember that there always have been some people probably who haven't been so much coffee drinker, but yeah, that was a lot. That sure was a lot. And I can tell in my country, Finland, because we are the top of coffee users in the world, even we are a small country, so many people have that 5 cups a day. And I even knew people who have like the, what is the pot, like whole pot before they go to the work. I remember one of my coworker was like having a pot of coffee before going in the work, and she was like all over the place, like she was cleaning all the time and all over the place, and you know, doing this, doing that, like almost like some kind of like heroin, not heroin, but like what is that, amphetamine addict or something like that. So but I probably had like so high tolerance, so I was with that 5 cups like you know, nothing, like you just work normally. You don't even get that buzz anymore when you are so adapted, and that's not a good thing, like, because it will mess up your HPA axis, that stress response. You just need more and more, you just need bigger and bigger amount of that like drug to give you the same effect, and that happens with time. So then you will come really dependent and you will build up the tolerance. Okay, what else? For me it's been around 500 to 600 milligrams, but now it's down to 400. Yes, that's good that you have been able to drop it. That's a good start for sure. I thought caffeine is healthy. The propaganda has worked well on me. Yep. Yes, and so many people still thinks. There are still people making videos that this is how the caffeine cure your liver or whatever. Like, I'm like, yep. But it's the propaganda, and the propaganda is strong still. It is really strong, because I like to, I'm always keep myself updated what comes to caffeine news. So because I just wanna show sometimes those in my channel, especially for those Finnish news which are so ridiculous. But it's strong, and it's not going any. It's gonna be there, the propaganda. I will say this is not gonna something change like overnight. The propaganda will keep continuing. People just and like today we were speaking in my life that it's really hard to people. It's not the people's fault. It's not our fault, because if you don't have any other information, like, okay, let's say that there is from caffeine, there is the Caffeine Blues by Stephen Chernisk, and then there are some maybe other books, but it's really, really little if you compare the information that mainstream is like feeding you. And that have been starting, of course, really, really long time ago when the Coke came in the market, and like, do you I don't know, maybe some of you, if you have been born in the 70s or 80s, I remember like the Coke commercials when I was a kid. Like, I was so excited, yeah, Coke commercials, Coke, and of course the chocolate and all that. So the Coke and chocolate are those children's caffeine drug that the addiction will start. So that's how they have been brainwashed us since. So like, it's not like I always, it can be sound sometimes I'm so like judgmental, but I don't wanna be, because it's not humans' fault. It's if I'm judgmental, I'm for the government and for the system, but not from the humans, because humans just do what they think is right, and many human doesn't know. It is a 250 billion business. They will do everything to don't lose that. Yep, that's what it is. It's a hell of a business. Sometimes I say that if you start to think that how to make money, I have a few like recommendation. Starts to buy coffee, and when the times comes that coffee is too expensive or people doesn't get that anymore, starts to sell coffee. Yeah, but really that is what is making money. The drugs are making the money. And the coffee business, it's a huge business, and people are going in that, of course, because they have to. have to get, and even the Starbucks, I wouldn't even trust the Starbucks like if they have those decaf drinks, because, and one thing, because I know many people always ask this, what about the decaf? There it is not that kind of process, the decaffeination process, that will take all the caffeine away from the decaf. So decaf is still caffeine, chocolate is caffeine. There are always people who said, Anni, I didn't know that there is caffeine in chocolate. Yes, there is. So that you have to give up that too. Seen so many people who still have kept using chocolate. They will prolong their symptoms, or they will get symptoms from that. That's not like the same thing if you are alcoholic and you quit the booze, but you still keep using beer. You are still using alcohol. So when you quit caffeine, you quit chocolate included, and all the other sources. And it's not so, sometimes people, yeah, but Anni, how can I live without chocolate? Well, easily you can live without chocolate. You can have other things to eat. It's just like your mind is tricking you that you cannot live with chocolate. You can, and it's not because if you were like me, that you were also addicted to the chocolate, I won't recommend to start, even if when you heal, I won't recommend that you ever start to play with that. I don't say that maybe when you are fully healed, maybe, or maybe not, I don't know, maybe you tolerate that, or maybe not, maybe you have headache, I don't know, but I don't see any why in the hell, if I could have like this years of healing journey, that the thing called caffeine, I don't wanna like start to play anything with that. There is other things that you can eat, other treats that you can eat so much. All right, but this was a good live. What Travis says. Do you think it's always bad no matter what? Like for some people who are perhaps genetically disposed for it, could 1 cup be acceptable? I don't really know, because it is still a poison, because you know what it does, like it causes you those vasoconstrict effects, and it is a cell poison, but I don't know, I cannot really answer that. Maybe some people can tolerate it better, or they don't have maybe this kind of withdrawals. That of course is possible, but that, because caffeine is a poison, if that person would give it up and not have withdrawals, I still that would be still good for that person to not have that. But I just have to answer, I don't really know. But what I'm sure about that, this chronic caffeine use, it is really harmful. And then there are here and there those people who haven't been using really much, like that 1 cup a day, for example, and then they quit and they have really huge symptoms. So I think that's also can be, like it can be depending in the person, and maybe there is some genetic factors. I'm not saying that, but what comes to itself to caffeine, when we know what it is, like it's the bland pesticide being a poison. So that's why would you take that if you just know that, and yeah. Yes, you're welcome. I'm happy to always see you all here, and I think I will go fishing now, because there has been raining a lot. I can show you, there has been a thunder. It looks like that now, but I think I will go fishing because it's okay now. So see you in other lives, and just keep going forward, and keep messaging me if you need, like keep commenting in the YouTube, and for these lives I will do more into autumn, more like this quitting caffeine lives. Maybe I will do some before, I don't know yet, but I will keep you updated. So see you, and keep up the good work, guys. You got this, you really do.